You keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your ass on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between is all you two turn.
And another episode of Mixed Up Podcast.
That's the point. That's where they
don't
and
that's
when
they get lost.
They get lost.
So the difference. So we're. How do I say this? The difference from when we grew up and what we've seen to now how we're living. What do you think is the difference that from our children compared to the way we grew up in that environment that we was in?
My kids didn't have to grow up like I did. I made sure that.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do as a man.
I think I spoiled mine. They get shit I never got.
Right.
But see, I was the only boy, so I did get a lot of stuff when I was growing up because I was the only boy. I had my own credit card.
Yeah, you told me that.
I used to buy shoes every week. You know, all that stuff.
Must be nice.
Word, right?
But that was because of my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother took care of me and my three older sisters. My mom was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But she took care of the family. You know what I'm saying? But it was hard for her. But till this day, my grandmother is 92, 93?
Bless her.
Still fighting to keep the family together.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's a blessing.
That's Big Mama's love.
That's what I'm saying. And my grandmother worked. She still worked today. Matter of fact, she worked part-time. She's a manicurist. She's been doing it over 50, almost 60 years. But she loves her family. Every time something happens, she calls me, call your cousin to see how he doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But if it wasn't for her, nobody would be communicating, which I don't hardly communicate with my family anyway. It's really weird. It's like I'm the outcast, but I really don't. I'm at that point in my life. I'm 50-some years old. I'm the only uncle my nieces and nephews have on their mama's side. So it really doesn't bother me because that's a lot of kids. And I don't know nobody's damn birthday.
So I know from my standpoint why I'm in my kids' lives and why I do so much is growing up where I grew up at. It's basically it's all broken homes. Like it's the single parent mom that's on welfare, on food stamps, and they're barely surviving. The kids want this, or they go find a way to get it, and that's where they get caught in that trap of being incarcerated and falling through the system. For me, is I got lucky that I never got caught up in the system. And I vowed one day, I sat there and I vowed, I was like, I never want to live in this environment, and I don't want my kids to live in this environment, and I left. But a lot of people, they fall into that environment and they don't know how to persevere to change their lives, and they just get stuck in that system. And I always like, I want to be in my kids' lives forever. I don't want my kids to live in a broken home. I want to make it. I had that drive, and people lose that drive when they're in the streets or in the hood. And it's
I don't
sad.
know, because growing up, and I always say this, especially in Hispanic families, and that's one thing I admire with them. The mothers never, like, no matter how dysfunctional the father was, he could have been a drunk, he could have been on dope head and stuff like that. He still was in the house, and the mother always made sure, like, you respect your father.
Right.
I've seen that personally, and West Indian families too. Yeah. Because their whole thing was, listen, no matter what, we're gonna keep this unit together. I didn't see men go out and have multiple different families outside of the marriage, outside the home, but the mother didn't kick the, and I know she's probably suppressing her feelings because she was sad, of course, but her whole thing was, I want my kids to grow up with their father.
Yeah, but it's still dysfunctional.
It's dysfunctional, but still the presence was there. I'm saying to compare to now. Now look at this. Now look at this when, i.e., the welfare came in, when you couldn't have the father in the household, right? Because you wasn't getting the benefits.
There's a documentary on that.
They send the fathers away, the male figures away. Now you got these women with all these kids. They're not listening to her. You understand what I'm saying? Because the father gets, Poppy's not there no more. He's on the other side of town, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna tell your father. Well, go ahead, tell him.
That's true.
And that's what happened. So now this generation, you got women that's saying, what's the first thing they say? I don't need no man.
I don't need a man.
I'm my own man. Happy Father's Day. and that's what I hate. Like, the Father's Day, the women say, well, I'm the father. I don't need, Happy Father's Day to me and stuff like that. No, you have your day, man.
But how does
it's Mother's Day. How that correlate? How you even say that? Yeah, I'm the father.
Well, they say that because the dad was never there, and they had to play both roles.
No, you're not playing no boy. There's no both roles. You can't. A woman can't play a man. You're the mother. You're a mother. You are the parent. You are playing a parent. That's what.
It's not literal. It's just the same because the dad was never there. They were not the dad, but they had to play both roles.
But to me, that's some petty ass shit.
That's petty. You don't have to say that.
No, you don't. You don't.
No, that's what I'm saying. And the woman, like, you are the parent. Now, if you say, like, yo, I'm the number one parent, yeah, but you're not the father.
But you know what's sad, though? You never see a man say Happy Mother's Day to me.
Right. Yeah, Happy Mother's Day.
No, I'm just saying.
And let's keep it real.
No, that's
crazy.
No, that's
Think about it. And you have single men. You have single men that have been taking care of their kids by themselves.
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day to me. You don't see it doing that. Yeah. It's for those that's trying to be petty.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, we got to grow up.
Yeah, they're being petty, but in reality, they are really doing both roles. But
you have
they're just
those.
being petty about it.
You have those. Like, this whole narrative about black African American men, right? They said how we are the most, like, atrocious when it comes to, like, and their studies show this, that they said how we are the ones that leave the family, we abandon the family, it's more single household. It's a lie. They did statistics, right?
Right.
They realized that African American men are the most nurturing men when it comes to the household as father figures.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Out of every other race.
That's absolutely true.
Hispanic, whites, everything. You can look it up. Anybody that? Oh, that's true. You can look it up. Mm-hmm. But they don't show that to us. They don't tell that
because
the African they're labeled already, not showing.
Yeah, I would need to look at that research.
Yeah, you have to look at the research.
Yeah, okay.
They said it.
Mm-hmm.
You could look it up all you want, but that's what the narrative that they show us.
Actually, we are the most caring and nurturing. And I'm going to give you an example. I seen a video. They had put the little white girl out there, right? And they told her, if you ever get lost.
Oh yeah, I showed in the video. I sent that to you.
First person you find
is a big black man.
Big black man.
Because it shows the data. It shows the data that when it comes to like a small child. As predators, sexual predators, mm-hmm. we are the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to getting arrests. When it comes to looking at the web pages and stuff like that, right. And even with the cases.
Look it up, Shan.
She was saying it in a positive way.
No, she said that the mother asked her like, if you ever get lost, what do you do? She said, look for a big black man. A little white girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, in a positive way.
Yeah. To help her. The mother was saying like to help her, because it showed.
Go back to what he was.
And there was a white guy that showed it. He said like, look at this. He said because black men are most likely not to be child predators.
Right.
That will return that young woman to safety. Because you take it, I mean, not knocking nobody, you might take it to a white guy. Not saying all white guys are predators or not, but he might land into a predator. He part of the Pizza Gate.
Right.
You just gave, that's like giving a lion a deer.
Right.
He like, oh yeah, I'll save you, little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it's fucked up, but that's the reality of it. But they don't tell that part about black men. They don't say that about us.
Little girl.
Yeah, like it's been a fleece. Come on, man.
I think Hispanic males are the same too.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not Hispanic, so I don't know.
I think it's also where the environment you in.
Right.
It's about how you've been raised.
Yes.
If you think about it.
Exactly.
Because as a black male, I've been raised to always be caring.
Right.
And I've never had to have an ounce of hate in my body.
Right.
And I can't hate it. For some reason, I can't hate nobody.
It's not in our culture.
I can ignore your ass, but I can't hate you. I just don't. I got the opportunity to not to deal with you.
I necessarily don't think it's just a black thing. I think it's anybody, any race. If you're raised correctly, you're gonna do the right thing.
Right.
The problem is the environment that I grew up was in is like nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like so. What I saw growing up was his broken families, Hispanic, and black families.
I'm telling you, they did it on purpose. When they introduced fucking crack
in our neighborhoods, right? That's the whole purpose. That was the whole purpose.
That and projects.
Yes, when they had the housing.
Mm-hmm, the housing.
Yeah.
They built, yeah.
What they call it, redlining.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When they did, they knew.
They tore that down.
They act like they don't know the shit that existed. And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah, I grew up in the projects. I lived there. And I saw everything that went on. And I was also, as we discussed previously, I was homeless for about a year and a half. So I saw a lot of this stuff as a young kid that a lot of people haven't even seen growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never seen it. Seen a lot of crazy stuff. And all I saw was single parent mothers, black and Hispanic, and the dad will come around once a year or whatever. Hey son, hey daughter, and that's it. Now they
But you know why, right? Because if they were getting assistance, he couldn't be there.
He couldn't live there. That is correct. Yeah, the dad couldn't go in the facilities. Technically, the dad's name is supposed to be in the house, but we all know the game that they play.
Yeah, of course.
Parents on welfare, dad works. Now they're living good,
right?
But they're not supposed to be there. They get caught, and then they get out the apartment, but they don't check anymore.
And then they went even further now, so you couldn't have a felony and go back in the project. So they know these kids is going to end up going to jail 9 times out of 10. So now they can't even come back home. So where do you house these men? Because they went in when they was kids, they come out when they're men. Now they can't go back in the same neighborhood that they committed a crime.
Now, if you've already been living there and you commit a felony, you can stay.
No, you can't. You can't come back. I don't know how it is. I heard, like, say if you was your mother.
That's something we're gonna have to research.
Yeah,
I believe so.
When you have your mother, right? Say that how you caught your crime in that neighborhood. And this was in New York. In that neighborhood, say in that neighborhood, in that projects, you could not come back and go to that projects. You could not.
Yeah, after this, I'm gonna call my mom and ask her. She'll be able to tell me the answer.
Yeah, you cannot. Housing authorities
as a felon.
As a felon, no. Housing authorities said you can't. You can't come back in there. They passed that law.
It's a housing project or anything like that.
Yeah, you cannot go back.
Yeah, because if you got caught over there as a convicted felon,
they don't want you to come back in the neighborhood. Yeah. They just implement. And I'm not saying they always was like that, but they implemented that you're not.
Yeah, that must be new because back then it didn't matter.
No, that's what I'm saying. You talking about in the 80s, early 90s, dudes was going in and coming back. They was but in the 2000s, dudes, because I was in it, I was seeing dudes having problem with. They was actually keeping guys in longer because they didn't have no house to go, nowhere to go. So they was sending them to halfway homes
because they had to have a residence to go to.
You have to. That's one of the stipulations to come home.
Stay in the projects. You don't
for parole. You have to have, and the parole officer actually goes to the house to make sure the living conditions is right. Because say, for instance, if they go and see some raunchy shit like your mama love, house is a damn fucking trap house.
Right.
You asked out, champ. They're gonna be like, you know what? You can't go over there.
Right.
They not even supposed to have any alcohol. They'll tell you that.
Right.
So then, how does it get fixed? Even people coming out of jail or in the inner city, because these kids are wild, and we see them when we watch drill videos. All these 15 teenagers going into McDonald's and destroying the McDonald's, like or the thing in New York is on the train station. Teenagers, even men now, just go up to random.
Who caused this to happen? The government.
It's the government to a T, but I know to an extent. But we know better. It's us. It's us because we know better.
But they implemented these laws,
right,
and these rules and stuff, stipulations that cause this effect.
But it's like.
But we know better now.
Yes,
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
They made that law. You can't whoop your kid ass no more.
Yes.
Jail.
That is true. Yes.
But see the thing. So the physical beating, but it's mental. It's mental now.
I'm talking about even I understand the physical beating thing, whatever. But as a kid, you used to fear.
Yes,
your mom, parent, your dad, right.
But that's what I'm saying. You can get them mentally
because they know if you touch me, I'm calling the police.
But here's the thing: a lot of these parents now, it's for they living through their kids. They living through. So you punishing your kid, but the next week you're buying them fucking Jordans for $200
Right. I got that. I get that.
You giving him fucking Mary jeans for $2,000, but he's not doing shit. How you gonna reward the bad?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's where it comes into. So these kids is like, they feel like they have no sense of like any kind of judicial. Like, you know what, I could do whatever I want to do. There's no ain't no repercussions.
Like there's no consequences.
There's no consequences.
But the thing with that is they're going out and doing it themselves now because their parents cannot afford, or
if they can't.
So that's they go out and it's always a trap. Okay? Or like they'll go out. Hey, let's. Back then it was like let's kick a homeless kid, person. Well, I never did stupid stuff like that.
Right.
That's
wrong.
Yeah, but then let's light a homeless person on fire. That was a thing.
They did that for a minute in New York. I remember that. There was somebody. They were doing that like it was a sport, lighting up homeless people and shit like that.
Come on, like that's like me saying, "Hey, Sean Bryan, come on, let's go downtown and light up an encampment on fire." They do that, but the mentality is everything has to be extreme because the other person has to one up the other person for like, hey man,
what is it? Because they want respect.
Exactly, but it's actually stupid.
It's stupid, and then when they get the asshole full of time, now you crying, and then you no, sir, I'm not an adult, I'm a young child. No, fuck out of here. You do crime like that, you're supposed to get.
I'm gonna have to let him see that Fleece Johnson video.
Yeah, right.
He want to go to jail.
Yeah, you want to go to jail.
Yeah, that should be a Scared Straight video. Part of it.
They don't even have Scared Straight no more. I remember Scared Straight in the 70s.
Used to, yeah.
That one dude with the fucking missing eye, that motherfucker was terrified. I lost my goddamn eye. So shit. I wanna go to jail. You think I'm playing with you? I ain't coming back in this motherfucker.
Yeah,
nigga lost his eye.
I think Fleece Johnson video in the hood should be a part of a school curriculum.
Yeah.
So they don't, like what? Nah, I ain't.
Like I like my booty. I'm going to college. I like my booty hole.
I'm gonna be a doctor.
I'll be a doctor. Let Fleece know.
No, seriously, man.
Because he's a warrior.
You don't want that muscle stretched out.
You don't want that muscle. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be a straight A student in damn college. I'm gonna be a professor. I'm gonna be an astronaut.
It's these kids and the music.
Yeah,
the music plays a big part.
It's all about money. Mm-hmm. That's all kids think about it.
And it's all temporary, though.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, because you know what? After you have all that money, and I've been there, and I've seen it. Like, I'm living better than all these people that I grew up. A majority, like, of the ones that got caught up in the trap. I got family and friends that have made it out of that and make decent money. Mm-hmm. But the ones that I've seen that I grew up with that are dead, jail, or they're doing the same thing, sitting on the bench in the projects, drinking, smoking weed, and I'm like,
they stuck.
Yeah, like one time I went back home. I was talking to one of my peoples that I grew up with. I was like, yo, I haven't seen you in like 3 years. Yo, what's up, Papa? He was like, yo, that's my son right there. Yo, he's the one that sells all the weed here.
Wow.
And I'm like...
And he's proud.
Yeah.
Like his son graduated from Harvard.
Yeah. And I'm like...
That's my boy with all the kush.
Hey, I'm like, hey, and this is my daughter and she goes to college. Like bro, like, come on, man. Like, you going to glorify that? Like... Yo, I wouldn't even want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
Yo, my kid sells weed or like the fuck.
I mean, why you want to validate your child like that?
Right. I was just gonna say, going back to how do you fix it? Like, it's multifaceted because we have individuals that glorify it, right?
Yeah.
But before they glorified it, somebody else glorified it for them.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we also have, rules and regulations that are bestowed upon us by government in order to stop us from advancing or put these stipulations in place that don't really make any sense.
Yeah, the draconian drug laws.
Right. They only target, people of color. Right. And then we also have this thing, what our culture itself, because we have old heads that are just kind of like, okay, no, this is how it should be. But then we have the younger generation that's coming up that's influenced by social media, the music, all the things that's happening in the world. And they're like, well, there's a hopelessness for some of them because it's just like, well, ain't shit gonna change no way.
Right.
So why should I care? And if this is what makes me feel good in the moment, then let me feel good.
And it's all temporary because you never know your life expectancy is very low.
So in other words, they're living for the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
They're living for the moment. They're looking for the thrill.
So how do we get them, especially the youth, like, okay, it's a bigger picture.
They need somebody to really step in and care. They care about them. They
don't want to listen.
Don't change.
That's another thing too.
They don't want to like.
You could try, but a lot of them don't want to listen.
Well, the ones that don't listen, then that's a lost cause.
Busta Rhymes, do you see the BET Awards?
Yeah.
So it was ill what Busta Rhymes said. He said a lot of times. He said when he was in the new in the industry, he went to Big Daddy Kane house. He said Big Daddy Kane showed him that $1 million house. EPMD showed him the properties they had in Long Island, you know, so forth, and that's what it is. He said it's important for us older guys to put the arm around these young dudes, but we also gotta look the part,
right?
Because unfortunately, we go by sight,
right?
So young dudes looking like, what the hell you gonna tell me? You out here, you know, you eating top ramen noodles,
right?
And you know what I mean, you ain't driving nothing. You know what I mean. Everything is all about the allure of the game.
Right.
So he said that's why I try to look the part, and I am the part to show these young dudes like, listen, I've been where you've been, and listen, that's not the route. Let me show you how to flip it.
Right.
Because I done blow money away. Right. You know, these dudes, you got to think about it. Them dudes back then, especially around that era in the 90s, they had $1 million budgets.
Yeah, they had.
They had the big, remember, Busta Rhymes videos. He was one of the first ones that had the $1 million Hype William videos.
Yep.
So he's like, yo, listen how we go, you know what I mean? And that's what it is. We have to look the part.
Right.
So that's what it is. I think that's
but I'm saying that's like he said, you got to put your arm around him.
You got to put your arm around. You can't be scared to go back. You can't be scared to put your arm, because you know, and you have a right to, because you got some of these young kids, you know, they don't care. You try to put the arm around them, like what?
Yeah,
they too tough. They too tough to get loved. They never had like a father figure, or they never had like a masculine energy around them,
right.
Like trying to just show, you know, I love you, bro.
Right.
So they don't know how to, and they return like what you
accept it.
Yeah.
How they accept it. They're looking like, what you want from me? Or this gotta be a trap. You trying to learn? It's not young blood.
If I look like this, why would I want something from you?
Why? But then you got the creepos that would,
right?
You know, that knows how. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and get this young boy. Manipulation.
So, and y'all probably gonna disagree with me on this, but I grew up in that environment. I'm really heavy in that environment, and a lot of people make excuses for why they're in the situation they're in. And I talk a lot with people, and like, we didn't have opportunities, that's why that's bullshit. You just wanted to choose the fast route,
the easy way
instead of the hard way,
right? And
there are a lot of opportunities for us. I mean, we have Pell Grants, TAP, I think TAP is the other one. They have scholarships specifically for minorities.
They have some courses that are free.
Right.
Exactly. But and don't get on me on this. I think at times we have more opportunities in minority to go to college than white people, because there's not a white college fund. If that came up, it would be racist. But we have United Legal College Fund. We have all these things towards minorities to better themselves. Yet they don't use opportunities.
Those opportunities are afforded to us, but it's not to vast. So you might think about the United Negro Fund, right? Everybody think about that, but let's keep it real. You know how much black students that can't get that we call it that grant, that try to apply for it? So I understand what you're saying, and the only reason why we have that implemented because we are the less fortunate. Because a lot of these white people are, you know, not even white people, the more fortunate people, they have the funds for it already. That's set up since they was young,
right?
You know what I mean?
They call it. I forgot what they call it.
Well, I know what you're talking about too. They have it. They set it up like, you know, we have our kids' tuition already. You know, they have that. Our parents didn't have that. Shit, our parents didn't even have life insurance, bro.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's
part of wealth. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Back to what I was saying initially. We need to get taught about our financials. Like, you know, that's what we need to be implemented with us, because we don't know what to do with it. People look at life insurance. I understand a lot of people don't like dealing with it because they look at like, but I don't want to face that you know, that the death and that you know. But no, death is inevitable, bro. That's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
When other races use that as leverage, they look like, okay, I know X amount is about to die. Let me put life insurance on this, because guess what? That person will have bills I'm gonna have to take care of.
Oh, they set up their family and their kids for the future. But that's something that we have established, because nobody taught me that. I taught myself all of that.
You have to learn it, right?
But the thing is because I wanted it. Right. I had the hunger,
and that's a big catalyst right there.
Right,
you wanted something different. A lot of these people are kids. They don't want anything different, or they don't think that they deserve anything different.
They don't know it.
They don't know that it
exists.
Exactly. Or the thing is this generation, and I'm talking for the inner city. because where we at is totally different. But in the inner city is they want. It goes back to the fast money. It goes back to the illusion of I'm being hard. I'm gonna get all this money. I'm gonna be a woo or cho or wherever the hell you're at, whatever gang you in, and they look at that, and that's what they aspire to be.
Right.
Like growing up, people want to aspire to be a doctor, in the military, a policeman. Growing up. Now those jobs are undesirable, and they look at them like, "Oh, you whack, you garbage if you work in those jobs."
I won't say everybody expired.
Like the trash man wasn't nobody,
and they
right? And they make more money than everybody.
Very important.
They make in New York the trash people make the sanitation make the most
big money. It's big money.
That's
six figures.
Transit and everything like that.
That's what I'm saying.
But nobody wants to do
understand
it.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Who knew? I never knew that.
Yeah, man. The trash man.
I knew it
Money.
because the if you look at it, the trash man always had the house.
I mean, I ain't never knew no trash man.
That's funny. I lived next door to one.
Yeah, they were living in.
I live in the city, New York. Is there? I live next door to one.
In New York, you
know them.
You'll know the trash man.
We used to live next door to them. A family.
They set it out on the street. It was for days.
Yes.
So you gotta see the trash man.
Right.
Can't miss it.
It was a family I grew up with. It was like, the mother, the two daughters, the one daughter, and like the two sons were there. One of the oldest sons, he was the trash man. The dude ended up buying the family a house. They ended up moving. He bought them a house, man. So they was making money, but it wasn't the most desirable job,
right?
Because like you said, you had the women that wanted the drug dealers for a minute,
and it's hard work.
Because it's hard work, but not knowing that shit don't last, right. Especially back in the days. You know what I mean? Dudes were just getting that to put on the ballies and the rope chains and stuff like that. Then they had no substance. They didn't have nothing like no properties and stuff. Right. So now we get older, we know like, okay, well, that's what it is. I just think that it's a gap with these younger generation, with these kids, man. And I'm going back to what I'm feeling. It's the music. I think it's the music, and these artists is not telling the truth about it. Because you got these dudes that's thinking, okay, well, I sell drugs. Because notice how I bet. Back in the days, you saw the struggle of the artists. You saw the evolution of the artists.
Right.
Wu-Tang, when Wu-Tang first came out, right? You saw them dudes like, damn, these are hood dudes, street dudes, but they struggling, they're hungry, they trying to make
You keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your ass on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between this, are you too turned up? Never turn down though, when there's big energy, when I come around though. So, don't ever switch. Know you've been looking.